Well, folks, thanks for tuning in again. We're doing the weekend review. This is more a look at the week ahead with some specific details, but giving you a heads up when you're talking to people about things that are going to be coming at us in the coming days. And we're still on the road here, still traveling, doing some presentations, and so you see a bit of a different background here. The look ahead, of course, to do with Iran is what's going to be the main focus with so many people in so many situations. Obviously, look for the war to shift a bit in terms of a lot more missile focused. You're going to see U.S. and Israel now that has complete air dominance doing a lot more targeting of these mobile ballistic sites that Iran still has, and intensifying. And what we think you want to watch for is Iran looking to relying on media and international media, because they'll be looking and hoping that groups like Hezbollah and others of their proxies, which still have some missiles in the Middle East, will be killing innocent citizens in places like Israel and in other countries. And of course, mainstream media will always pick that up and will always shift the focus away from the actual terrorists and more to the countries like United States, like Israel, other countries even in the Middle East, other Arabic countries that are supporting Israel in this attack on Iran. You'll see the media shift, always making it look like the forces that are trying to stomp out terrorism are actually the forces of evil. So watch for those trends to continue, fortunately or unfortunately. It's going to be interesting to see the price of oil going to continue to go up. I think you're going to see it in the $120 to $150 barrel. That's the biggest spike in quite a while. That means we are going to see and be paying a price at the pumps, especially until there's a resolution on the Strait of Hormuz, where so much traffic, 20% of all world shipping goes through there. If that continues to stay blocked and insurance companies will not insure ships going through there, then that's going to continue to see a rise of inflation. So watch that to continue. But there's going to be a real focus on Trump's upcoming trip to China. That's something that is clearly getting interest and getting attention. We're going to see where that's going to go and what effect that's going to have as China wants to see itself moderating somewhat. That trip's coming up at the end of the month. China is going to soften possibly some of its discussion, some of the noise that it makes. And we'll see also China in their 5-year plan, which was just released, they're talking about increasing their maximum the military capacity. They say will be in 2027 when their Navy is at the highest level of construction ever, especially with ballistic capabilities. That would be, people would suggest, a time for moving on Taiwan. But there's also the suggestion that with the U.S. Looking pretty well challenged and focused on the Middle East, would China move now on Taiwan? My guess is no. China's in a tough space. You know that China purchases used to purchase 90% of all the oil that Iran shipped. 90%. So because countries like Canada, which are energy powerhouses or could be, and because we have been ruled, unfortunately, by the influence of extreme environmentalist group who are controlled from out of the country, that affects votes, that affects the liberal votes. And so we have largely kept in. We have not expanded our capacity to help the rest of the world with our well-refined liquid natural gas and oil products. We could have been helping China going back a long ways, and it's forced China to rely on Iran. If Quebec had not been blocking a pipeline to the East Coast, selfishly blocking that, we could have been helping Europe not have to buy oil and gas from Russia and fund Russia's campaign against Ukraine. So a lot of real errors in terms of our energy policy in Canada starting to come to light. We could have been a major force of peace around the world with our oil and gas products, but governments continue to fear the far left extremist vote, and so we are actually hurting the world with our present policy. Hopefully that'll change. Let's see if it does. We don't really know. We're going to have to wait. Time will tell. Well, Iran, of course, people are talking about, can regime change? Now they're calling it regime alteration. Listen, it's a country of 90 million people. There's a lot of extreme Islamists there. The their Revolutionary Guard, Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps, in the millions of soldiers. This is not going to be an easy thing. It's going to be to see if the sentiment from the street, as we call it, can bubble up. But people who say it's going to be very difficult to see any real difference if you get a different regime in there. Take as an example a recent publication, recent media reporting from NPR that's out of the U.S. That National Public Radio Network is hardly center or even conservative. It's very left-leaning, would not be congratulatory to President Trump of anything. But they just finished a recent tour and investigative tour in Venezuela since the U.S. took out the dictator Maduro and arrested him in a pretty dramatic way and got him to broke down the regime somewhat. And they report nationally in Venezuela that the feeling, the change is palpable. The mood is positive. People are out on the streets. Legal protests are happening. Joy is coming back to the country. Now, this is not me reporting this. This is a significantly left-leaning media outlet out of the United States talking about how quickly, when you remove evil from the top, when you remove dictatorship and communist principles from the top, you quickly see faith arising, as we'll call it. And so I'm saying that we could see, I don't want to be overly optimistic here, a more rapid change in Iran than some people are possibly predicting. One of the concerns, of course, with all of the focus on nuclear, watch in the days, the weeks ahead for more reports coming out. There's some leaking right now, CIA-based reports about studies for years the CIA has been doing about countries starting and looking at chemical or toxic warfare supplies. And actually the CIA itself, watch for more media focus on this, being now accused as evidence comes forward that CIA itself was involved in the development of spreading toxic warfare and doing that through insects. And there's some, now this is not, I'm not substantiating this, saying this is for real, for true, but watch for more investigation. Even things is now being suggested when they look at the central areas of the outbreak of Lyme disease going back 3 or 4 decades. And the ticks that were involved there, were they actually being infected and spreading toxic, conditions, if not diseases? So again, I'm being careful here. This is not me predicting this or saying this. What I am predicting is there's going to be more media focus on this type of thing. Watch for that. As far as Canada, look for, as we've seen Prime Minister Carney take a somewhat disturbing move with pushing Canada much closer to China. That's fine on trade, but not on security. And the two are often inseparable. I can tell you because I've been the Minister of International Trade, also the Minister responsible for security services and intelligence services. The two are entwined, and it's very concerning, especially at a time when the U.S. is so concerned about China, Taiwan is concerned about China, and here we're being pushed closer to China, something to be careful of. But one area that seems to be working, Premier Danielle Smith in Alberta has been accused of trying to court the separatists in Alberta. She has not done anything of the kind. She is not a separatist herself, but she is certainly using those grievances, and the grievances of separatists in Alberta are well-founded and well-grounded. She's been using those to pressure Ottawa to smarten up and be more sensitive to the needs of the province of Alberta. And the recent announcement between herself and Prime Minister Carney that Alberta is going to have more say over the movement of its major energy and pipeline projects may be a positive result of taking a bad situation of grievances, leveraging them, and getting the federal government to acknowledge. So let's see if that continues and continues to be a strategy from Premier Smith. It does seem to be working. I have said on national television, I don't think if there was a vote taken today that the separatist vote would carry. I don't think you'd get over 50%. I don't want my friends who are in that camp who want to see separation. I don't want to think I'm ignoring the grievances. I'm not. The grievances are real. But I just don't think that vote is going to hit the 50%. But I think one reason to bring that vote on is it will settle things. If they don't get the 50%, then the separatist sentiment will die, maybe a slow death, much as it has in Quebec. And it would be a good thing because anytime there's uncertainty, investment stays away. So while there's uncertainty on that question, it's not good for the economy of Alberta. Let's get it on. Let's have the vote. Let's show that I think I'm right on this. Most will not vote to separate. On the cultural side, well, if media is a formation of culture, President Trump announcing a change in strategy. He's going to be attending this year the National Press Dinner, which is something that he boycotted even in his first term. So this is a big announcement, big change. He's actually going to be at the dinner. That means he's going to be fair game right there, sitting there, cameras close on his face, as the media will, of course, attempt to tear him apart. One of the concessions the media has made for the National Press Dinner, they're not getting, as they usually do, they get a extreme left-leaning comedian to come in and tear him apart. That's not going to be the case. They're bringing in a very famous, I don't know if you've heard of Oz Perlman, a very famous mentalist, somebody who does tricks with their mind. This is going to be fascinating, but an amazing shift there in terms of Trump's policy. You're going to continue to see in the week and the weeks ahead revelations coming from the Epstein files. More and more focus, of course, is going to be on the sexually based items, but more and more on these various high-placed individuals from around the world in every country who were giving secrets to Epstein, trade secrets about different countries, intelligence secrets. You're going to see that, but I'm making a prediction here. There's been some stories out, and you're going to see more. There's something called the Bohemian Grove, which is in Sonoma County, and it's in California. And for decades, it's been a very secretive place where top celebrities, mainly movie stars, go for, it's a retreat up to 2 weeks long. No names are ever kept there, but top names have been secretly talked about. And also it's been secretly talked about what goes on at the Bohemian Grove. Now there are names actually surfacing from way back, Paul Newman being one of them and others. So look for a little more attention, as there's going to be ongoing, of course, with Epstein. Look for some new discussion on who is at the Bohemian Grove, what was going on there and what was taking place. Well, as we look in the area of sports and culture, the MMA, the mixed martial arts, continues to be growing in popularity, and around Austin, Texas seems to be a central sort of hub of all that activity. And the emerging star to be watched, and she's getting a lot of attention, Helena Krivar. She's only 18 years old, Serbian descent, but she has become a master of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and she's just knocking off all the competition. There's even men now who are afraid to compete with her. So on the watch for mixed martial arts continue to be rising to the top in terms of interest, and a lot because of Helena Krivar. By the way, yes, she's tough. Yes, she's rough. But her two favorite hobbies that she says are baking cookies and her collection of porcelain dolls. So a very interesting person. Let's watch as she continues to move up on the mixed martial arts scene in Major League Baseball this season. And you're going to see it very soon now in training camp. They are officially integrating the use of AI in terms of calling pitches and calling strikes. Now, it's not going to be widespread. It's a system called the Hawkeye system, and it's based on cameras all around the field, taking pictures of the base, a home base from different angles. Only the pitchers and the catchers, and in some cases, one other person are going to be allowed to challenge a call, whether it's a ball or a strike, and it's not going to be widespread yet. Each team at the start of the game is only going to get 2 chances. They get 2 chances to appeal a ball or a strike, but if their appeal is correct, then they don't lose that particular, they'll keep that pace. So as long as they can keep through the game getting correct on the appeals, they'll keep having 2. Once they have 2 wrong appeals, then that's it for the game. What this is, and I'm making a prediction here, you're going to see the continued use of AI because machines can do things better than humans can. And I predict in the years ahead, maybe even at Olympic events, where you see figure skating or diving events where it's done by judges. Any event that's done where it's the first person across the line, those are easy to judge, or who lifted the most weight. But there's always controversy when there's judges involved and who got 8.8 or who got 8.9. I'm saying the possibilities of having AI judges with cameras based on true scientific analytics can change the face and the controversy that comes with judging. Watch for that to happen. Well, Gen Z, as we continue to like to look what they are doing, the Gen Z's attachment to hip-hop music continues to go down, and we see it was 24%, it was 30% of all live streams done by, all streaming of music done by Gen Z in 2020. They were of all streams they were streaming 30% hip-hop. I want to get this correct here. And this last year in 2025, it's down to 24%. And for the first time in years on the top 40, there was a period of time in 2025 when there was no hip hop, even in the top 40. So it's a trend. Maybe some of the discussion is some of the harsh lyrics, some of the lyrics in hip hop, which are racially based. Many of which also are extreme degradation being talked about in the lyrics in hip hop are some of the reasons, especially young female Gen Z are moving away. Whatever the reasons are, there is a move away. And there's a real increase in two areas we're seeing. The so-called bossa nova sound coming out of, we'd say South America, or the sort of Brazilian sound, is rising in number of streams. It's a little more joy-filled music. And the most dramatic increase is the amount of Gen Zs listening to faith-based or so-called Christian music. That's moved up radically. And we're going to see, I predict we will see more of it. The numbers are quite something there. As a matter of fact, we talked about the bossa nova sound, female singer there, Laffy, had 200 million views on her bossa nova sounding music, her top hit this year. And the Christian music, 18% increase just this year in terms of the choice of everything that's being live streamed, an increase of 18% in Gen Z wanting to listen to Christian music over the last 5 years. That's an increase of 60%. Now, they're careful to point that doesn't mean an increase of Gen Zs necessarily going back to church, but people are looking for something more joy-filled, more hope-filled, and we could all use some of that. There's some of the trends for you to be watching from our weekend podcast here. We'll see you Monday. Have a great weekend. Thanks for tuning in.